So this is an all-British affair here on the Stonor Challenge Cup with Emily Craig and Imogen Grant just fresh from Tokyo against Katie Greves and Jess Eddy. And off they go.
Off they go, as you say. These crews, this one I've really been looking forward to. Effectively, it's a sort of a lightweights against heavyweights battle, but the double of Emily Craig and Imogen Grant, as we know, raced out in Tokyo. They were the lightweight doubles, so unfortunate to end up in 4th place at the Olympics, up against Katie Greaves and Jess Eddy, silver medalists from the Tokyo Olympics. So they've been retired. They've done a fair bit with themselves in the last 5 years, including getting married. Kate Greaves has a 1-year-old who just celebrated her birthday. But the lightweights are taking it to them. They don't want the comeback queens to get in against them.
Yeah, so Jess and Katie in the near side here, they both were going to race at Women's Henley, and then they got contact traced, so they had to drop out. So they just thought, well, actually, let's finish this off and go to Henley Royal. And they're really excited about doing this, and having won their first race yesterday against Foster and Wilson, who are at Hinckley Sculling School, they're really looking forward to racing Kate and Imogen, so Emily and Imogen in this race. And the two girls just fresh from Tokyo, it's a class act, isn't it? They scull really nicely.
They really do scull nicely. You can see a class act, absolutely. And here we go. We've moved up the course, and it looks like the impact of all the training, the fitness, the being at the top of your game. You can kind of see the impact that it has in here when we're looking at about a 4 or 5 length lead that Emily Craig and Imogen Grant have got here. And these two, as you say, sculling so nicely.
Yeah, and these two ladies learned to row at university. So Imogen, in the stroke seat from Cambridge, she learned to row and rowed in the Blue Boat a few years, and she's a medical student. And Imogen Grant was at University of London. She also learned to row there, and both of them obviously lightweight rowers. Ironically, the other two didn't learn to row at university. They both went to University of London, but they both learned to row at school. Katie Greaves at Headington, Jess Eddy up in Durham Amateur Rowing Club. So here, it'll be a nice thing for them, having the disappointed Olympics, to come here to win Henley Royal.
Yeah, they shouldn't be disappointed with their performance at the Olympics. The performance they put in was amazing. The result was just so unfortunate for them to be in such a close finish.
100th of a second.
4 boats that close, and to miss out on a medal. But as you say, yeah, no, fantastic athletes. Imogen Grant, Cambridge medical student. She's already gone back. She's already gone back and started studying.
Yeah, exactly.
After Tokyo, but she's taken the time to come here.
It's funny,
and,
also
race at Henley.
Earlier on, having a conversation with Paul O'Donovan in the Irish lightweight double, and he's also going back to do his medical studies. Said he's probably going to come back for Paris, but he needs to go and do some more studying at first.
Well, it's probably good for them because there's been massive intensity, I guess, for the last 5 years, and particularly for the last 18 months. So much unknown, I guess, to go back and maybe just decompress a little bit, get away from rowing for a little bit, and have some other good focuses. Good for their rowing, sure, good for them as people, and good for what's going on in their heads, really.
And also, I mean, having come down to the Olympics, it's obviously massive pressure, a big build-up, the release. They couldn't even stay to enjoy the Olympics. This is going to be a nice way for them to unwind and, you know, see some of their friends around here, but also finish off with a good competition. And if they get it all right, they should have a good chance of winning. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I hope they'll get a great slot tomorrow, get to have a big crowd watching them racing, and get the joy of having more and more races on the Henley course tonight. It's turning into a good row over the course. They look to just be really enjoying being out one of the last races in the day.
I think Jess and Katie, like you said, they were Olympic silver medalists in Rio, and they would have taken this seriously. They've been training quite hard. You know, Jess has set the British 1-hour record on the ergo during lockdown, so she's in great shape. But they're not training 2 or 3 times a day. They've got other things. They've got jobs in their lives. They'll be attacking this as much as they can, but they know they were up against the other two.
Well, look at them. They're still sculling really, really well. I guess what they're going to know, and the result is showing, is why you train so much. That their strength and power is just not quite there. So distance per stroke is not quite there like it used to be. So despite the fact that, you know, they've got all the fitness, they've got all the desire, they've got the technique, they just haven't got the sheer training volume and power there anymore.
Damage of 5 years of not training twice a day. Huh? A great view here of both the double sculls coming down the stretch with the applause coming from the crowd, and a great view there from the two girls. Beautifully done, actually. Great. I love the Union flag on the bows.
Yeah, it looks brilliant, doesn't it, the way the boat's moving through the water with that Union flag painted on the bow canvas and the stern canvas. It's fantastic, almost as if it's made for our drone camera.
Indeed. And here, coming up to the last 2 or 3 strokes, got Craig and Grant winning this heat of the Stonor Challenge Cup by clear water against Greves and Eddie from Wallingford Rowing Club and London Rowing Club. And there you go, the girls smiling at the end of that race. You can see even there they still worked quite hard.